Okay, so I thought it'd be helpful to kind of take you guys along what climbing shoes I have bought. I only thought that this might be helpful because I've been through a lot of climbing shoes. I was always looking for the best fit and the best performance out of them. And I finally think I've got it figured out, but it took me a little ways to get there. I mean, I've got like 7 pairs of climbing shoes now, and each one of them kind of did something a little bit different or something that I liked or disliked. So, might be helpful to kind of go through this whole thing of what climbing shoes I've gotten. So with that being said, let's kind of get into the first pair that I got, and that is the Mira lace from La Sportiva. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the shoe, this is kind of a legendary shoe from La Sportiva. It's right up there with the Mythos and the TC Pro. The Mira was really one of the first shoes that La Sportiva made that was really performance orientated. That was pretty indicative from this very aggressive front point on the toe. This was a point where you could really get on some small edges and really climb really hard in them. So the Mira has been in La Sportiva's range for a long time. I think it dates back to, I think it's either over 20 years now. So it's a shoe, it's a classic shoe, but it still performs at a really high level. And this is a shoe that top end athletes have used for some awesome climbs. And some still continue to use this shoe. So I was kind of drawn into that for the Mira. So I knew that it was a legendary shoe and it performed really high. But at the time when I was getting into climbing, I was getting into bouldering. And I kind of read that these shoes were kind of a great, more all-around shoe because they could really handle kind of everything you threw at it. They performed really great for bouldering. They performed good for sport climbing. They performed pretty good for trad climbing. I know there's certain people out there who really like the Mira for trad climbing to get their toes into cracks because it has a slight little taper, which makes it unique to the Mira, where you have this end where your toe should be, but you have this like kind of taper right here that allows you to get your foot a little bit farther into the crack. So it's a really cool design, and they're very unique for that way. So a lot of people still prefer them, and because they could kind of handle everything, that kind of is what led me to them. Now, at the time, I didn't really do a whole lot of research of whether it'd be better to have a lace-up version or a Velcro version. I went with the lace-up version kind of just unknowingly. I mean, this is the first pair of shoes that I got. And to tell you that this is the first pair of shoes that I've got, I sized them like I would size the first pair of shoes because my street shoe size is a 44. And I size these as a 43. Like, they're only one size smaller than my street shoe size. And basically, with that being said, is they kind of fit like a kind of a regular street shoe as well. A street shoe size it gives you like accommodation to where you have like a thumb width of space between your toes, and going down like a whole one size was not a whole lot. So they're not super tight. But funny enough that with the Miras, they've got a unique fit to them that some days they are the loosest shoe that I own, and some days they are the tightest shoe that I own. And that's kind of like a good like all around of like how the Miras are. But kind of going to that fit too, they are based on the PD75 last from La Sportiva. Now this is a last that is shared throughout La Sportiva's climbing shoe range. I mean, just to name a few, you have the Mira Velcro, you have the Otaki, you have the Squama, you have the Mantra, you have the Solution Comp. All of them use the PD75 last. So this is a very popular last with Sportiva system. And the Mira uses it. So it's a good last. So if you kind of know what your sizing is in those other shoes, you'd probably know what the Mira lace is. Just for an idea. So they're kind of a weird shoe. And like I said, I don't know if the laces definitely help to really kind of fix that accommodation, whether they are running really tight or running really big, because there's a little bit more micro adjusting. But as you can kind of see, and the lace is pretty tight, and that's just pretty indicative of, maybe the shoe's a little bit too big. But they are pretty comfortable sometimes. Sometimes when my feet are not very comfortable, I just want to throw on a pair of comfortable shoes that I don't really have to worry about. I generally go with these. And they perform pretty good. They got really good materials. They're leather. They got a leather upper that's really durable. They actually have like a microfiber lining inside, so they aren't unlined, they are lined on the inside. So what that basically means is that these shoes don't stretch a lot. So don't expect to buy these shoes and have them totally stretch out, because there is a lining and it keeps the stretching to a minimum. So just be aware of that. And they do come with Vibram XS Edge, which is Vibram's kind of good all around rubber that has enough stiffness to give you a good platform when you're stepping on small edges. A lot of other shoes use it, like the Katanas, the men's Katanas, and the TC Pros, and Taki's, like a lot of stuff uses the Vibram XS Edge. So for performance wise, they're really great. They're kind of up to that standard. And yeah, so overall, the Mira laces are a really good shoe. They're fairly priced, and that's kind of maybe why I got them, as more of like that just jumping out of the beginner to maybe introductory. At times they are a little bit too performance heavy for what you might need them for, but they do kind of handle everything pretty good. But what is worth to note is that there is a better version of this shoe out, and that is what I mentioned before, the Mira Velcro. That's probably the better shoe for a couple of reasons. One, the shoe just got an update, so it is updated for 2023. So be on the lookout for that. It's more of an aesthetic update, along with a lot of things. They didn't change a whole lot, but what they did change was the heel. The heel is restructured because, I don't know if you can tell, this is a really wide heel, and it's pretty wide from Sportiva. So they kind of shrunk this heel down, and it fits more like along the lines of the new Katana lace if you've tried that shoe on. So the heel is different, but a big part that sets the two shoes apart is that the Mira lace does not have La Sportiva's P3 technology, and P3 technology is I want to say suspension system, but it's not. It's a randing system that basically keeps tension in the toes, and it generally originates from here. But it goes all the way to your toes, and it keeps a downturn of the shoe. A lot of other La Sportiva shoes use this technology. I mean, right off the bat, TC Pros, Katana laces, Solution Comms, Solutions, Otaki, Squamas, they all use the P3 technology. I mean, even into their higher end performance shoes, they still use that. Whereas these Miras don't. And what you can kind of see is that if they are standing flat, you can kind of see the toes pointing upwards. So over time, when I've been using these, because there's nothing retaining that tension for the downturn of the toes just start to go upwards. That's what you're kind of seeing right here. So does this make it like an unusable shoe? No, by no means it's not unusable. But just be aware that if you're going on anything that's pretty, if you're on an angle like that and you're trying to get your toe to really dig into that hold, it might not have that good setting on it, because the toe is, pointed upwards now. So I would definitely say that the Velcro version of this, the Miras are probably the better pick. They have the P3 technology that just got updated. It's basically everything is still the same, what you love about the Mira, but just with the Velcro system. And their Velcro on the Mira is a little bit different from other shoes. Like the Squamas only use one Velcro strap. The Otakis use two, whereas the Miras use 3 Velcro straps. So that's kind of nice. You get a little bit more fine tuning with Velcro, even though Velcro is not great for fine tuning, but you get a little bit more. So yeah, I would definitely say that the Mira Velcro is probably the better one to get out of the two, but still this performs at a great level. And it's really awesome to see that they are still coming out with this model of shoe. Like I said, it's been around for 20 years. So to see it still performing at a high level, it's really cool to see when they still continue to support these silhouettes of shoes, because hey, if they're still at the top of their game, why change it? So yeah, it's kind of like a good overall general experience with the Mira laces that I've had. I still sometimes use these shoes. There's some days that I use them just for a couple sport climbs or maybe some bouldering, but generally what I was using them for and what I kind of use them for here and there is gym climbing. I don't know. I don't really have a great use for these shoes anymore. I've kind of moved on. I've downsized a lot more, so a 43 is just still a little bit too big. So with that being said, if you guys have any questions about these shoes, make sure to leave a comment. I'll try to get to it as fast as I can. I have spent a good amount of time on these shoes, so I can kind of tell you what I've kind of found with them. Hopefully I can answer your question. But maybe I might have some limits because these aren't the size that I normally go for anymore. So just be aware of that. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.